In this section, you are going to understand how to find the inverse of a function. Here we have a function f of x equals 5x minus 6, and you're asked to find the inverse. How do you find the inverse of this function? Well, I'm going to show you 3 steps, after which I'm going to give you some practice questions and you're going to have a go at them. So the first step is to let y equals f of x. So the function f of x is 5x minus 6. So we're going to let y equals to that. So let y equals 5x minus 6. That's the first step. The next step is to interchange the x term with the y term. So wherever we have x, we're going to replace it by y, and wherever we have y, we're going to replace it by x. So in this case, I'm going to have x equals 5y minus 6. The next step is to make y the subject of the formula. So how do we make y the subject of the formula? Well, we need to get the y term on one side of the equation. So how do we do that? Well, by adding 6 both sides, because minus 6 and a plus 6 here gives us 0. So what we have left on the left hand side now is x plus 6. And on the right hand side I have 5y. But we need to get y. How can we get y? Well, you should realize that you divide both sides by 5. So by dividing both sides by 5, on the right hand side, this 5 here can cancel out. So what we have left is just on the left hand side is x plus 6 over 5. So it means that y is equal to x plus 6 over 5. So we have found the inverse of the function. So finally we write f inverse x equals to x plus 6 over 5. And that's the inverse of the function. Here is a practice question. Press pause and have a go. Now what do we do next? Well, we interchange the x term with the y term. So in this case, I'm going to have x equals to y plus 5 over 2y plus 10. And what do we do next to find the inverse of this function? Well, we make y the subject of the formula. So how do we do that? How do we make y the subject of the formula here? Well, we have 2y plus 10 at the bottom, which gives a fraction. So in order to get rid of the fraction, we could multiply both sides by 2y plus 10. So we multiply both sides by 2y plus 10. On the right hand side, 2y plus 10 is a common factor, so we cancel it out. So what we have left is y plus 5 on the right hand side. On the left hand side now, I have in bracket 2y plus 10, and we have x outside the bracket, so we need to multiply 2y plus 10 by x, so we get 2xy plus 10x. Now we are making y the subject of the formula, so we need to get the y term on one side of the equation. So in this case, we need to take y both sides here to get the y term on one side of the equation. So by taking y both sides, we take y both sides. So what we have left is 2xy minus y, and we have plus 10x. This would become 0 because y from y is 0. So what we have left on the right hand side is just 5. We need to get all the xy, all the y terms on one side. So we need to get rid of the 10x. So by taking 10x both sides, this here will become 0. So what I have left on the left hand side is 2xy, and on the right hand side I have 5 minus 10x. So let's write this up here. What we have is 2xy minus y equals to 5 minus 10x. If you notice, y is a common factor, so we can factor out y. So in this case, I have y into 2x minus 1 equals to 5 minus 10x. How can we get y? By dividing both sides by 2x minus 1. If you know 2x minus 1 can cancel out there, so what we have left now is y equals to 5 minus 10x over 2x minus 1. So we have found the inverse of the function, therefore we write f inverse x equals 5 minus 10x over 2x minus 1. So we have found the inverse of the function. Here are some practice questions. Press pause and have a go.